Hey there, how's it going? James True Live. Good to see you. Welcome to the studio, all that stuff. Let's see what's going on in Manhattan. Take it away, lady, who I forget your name, but is actually working for me. But many of you think that somehow they're actually working for another course. But see, I'm an underground news network, and I'm putting all these words in to delay because I forgot to pull this up full screen. Take it away. Wait, shit, man. It did that thing again, guys, where it's just like, after you hit stream, you gotta go over here and... This is so dumb. This is dumb. This is not the way to do it to you guys. Wait, no, go down here. Live present. Give me a sec. Gotta hit restart capture. Oh, God. Gotta restart the capture. We'll go back up here to main. Hey, how's it going, guys? Let's watch what's going on in Manhattan. Take it away, sweet lady Jane.
Out here. People are masked up, they're not showing their faces, everyone has a cell phone out, they're videoing it and sending it back. It's just causing such a stir. And to be totally honest, it's very difficult to watch. This is a city that we love. This is a city where there are so many people who are working very hard. It's just so incredibly divisive.
All right. I don't think you guys can hear that audio. I was trying to check, but it doesn't look like you can. So yeah, this Manhattan's freaking war zone, and I don't know why I can't play this, but there's so much to cover right now. But this lady's covering this war zone. Look at all these freaking trucks going down downtown Manhattan, and you look around, you would hope that more people would sort of be kind of pissed off and like outraged about it, and then you run to social media and you're just looking at what people think, and what you really understand is that we've got a revenge cult, ladies and gentlemen. The two-party system is a revenge cult. It's a revenge cult on you did this to us, therefore we get to do it to you. And now we have Trump pooping on people. You got Newsom pooping on people. And, I don't even know if we really fully understand how freaking profound it is that we're going around pooping on people. Let me, this one doesn't need audio. Look, think about this. Think about the fact that we're supporting, most of our money's actually going to a foreign power that's been spraying poop on people for decades. For decades, we've been spraying the Israeli terrorist army, spray sewage water on Palestinian homes in the West Bank. This used to be the West Bank. Guys, this was the good life. This was the good life on the left. Shown on the left there. And now that's just all decimated. And not only does that not matter, we can actually use it for social fodder. And what is Trump doing right now? And why are so many people cheering about it? It's gross. I don't want to show it to you either. Don't worry about it. But if you think it's gross now, imagine what it was like then. And then we've got this notion that no one in Palestine should seek revenge. In fact, not only should no one seek revenge, there's no such thing as Palestine. And that it's a Zionist plot, a left-wing plot by the communists or whatever, all this stuff. And it's deep, guys. It's deep. This, I kind of want to play audio. And you guys got to be patient, because I'm going to figure out why the audio doesn't work here. Let's see. It's got this one right here. Let's see.
Flag down.
Yeah, there we go.
First Amendment right.
You should be able to hear this.
The right to protest
and
is
me.
protected under First Amendment right.
You should be able to hear this and me, no problem.
If you arrest them, you're going to make a whole...
This is in the Capitol.
Go around that way. Over there. They're over there. Yeah, you move. You move. All right. Bring the flag all the way down. All the way down. If it was up again...
Get arrested, it's a First Amendment right.
Now, this plaza
It's a First
is
Amendment
restricted
right.
from First Amendment activity.
No.
All of Capitol Hill...
No, that doesn't happen. That's not a thing, bro. That's not the Constitution, bro.
Name and badge number,
Not
sir.
Constitution. Whatever. Let's have a conversation.
Not the Constitution. What?
Because I have it on video. Can you follow me?
You know what? I actually hate to tell you this, but the police officer's right. DC is a non First Amendment zone. There's a lot of things you can't do there. And just as we've discussed before, if you want to insist that Abraham Lincoln is not a dictator, then you're going to insist that Israel's done nothing wrong and has committed no war crimes, and you're going to insist that Canada's just being a pansy by saying, look, we're going to arrest Bibi Netanyahu if he ever comes here. We're going to arrest him for war crimes. You've got China, the country of China, saying the same thing. And all we've done is taken what is worst about them and glorified it and placed it on a pedestal and carded the MAGA party. And now we're clinging to people like Theo Von, who placed him there. We're clinging to personalities that have spent the last 4 or 5 years bashing anyone except for white males, claiming that it is, in fact, some sort of sacred duty that we have to pound women all day long and preserve the white line because it's under attack. And this is what it fucking looks like. And not only does it look like that, we really aren't at a level collectively where we can go back and even change that, because ultimately you're looking at a consciousness that I can, in the happiest, most compassionate terms, the most positive terms I can say would be something akin to a hyena. A kind of behavior that just dictates itself over and over again. And every year we insinuate that the ones who are different among us, regardless if they tell the truth, are the problems. Because they don't look like us, they don't act like us, they don't play the game. Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aquino, we spoke about yesterday. I just wanted you to hear it in his own voice. I told you that this is one of the few people who came from a military career, who wrote this book, Mind War, which I'm going to read a passage from here in a sec, and told you what 9/11 truly was. And let's hear what he has to say. Remember, the right told you this is a satanic baby killer, a satanic worshiper who was out to steal your soul. Libs of TikTok would insist that Michael Aquino is every single thing that's wrong with the world and America, and why everyone needs to be a Christian fascist is because of Uncle Eyebrows here. And let's listen to what Uncle Eyebrows actually was trying to tell you, please.
On behalf of Israel to balkanize.
Let's,
the airlines, I can tell you all kinds of things about 9/11. The notion that it was an Arab attack is completely ludicrous. It was a CIA and Mossad operation with some participation in it also by MI6. It had one purpose and one purpose only, which was to make American citizenry angry enough so that the United States would go and spill its blood on behalf of Israel to balkanize as many of the Arab countries surrounding Israel as possible.
Okay, thank you, Michael Aquino. You evil son of a bitch. How dare you try and take away the sanctity of America, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to hear you saying the truth. Why would you not embrace this guy? Why would the right not embrace him first? Why would anyone who's even close to awake not embrace him as a hero and defend him every chance you have when you're surrounded by some fucking truther who's telling you the baby killers like Michael Aquino are out to get you? And the reason why is because it's not popular. The reason why is because it hurts too much to do the moral thing. The reason why is because we've literally created this atmosphere, this Perseus atmosphere, where all of us, if we just do what feels good, that is somehow moral in and of itself. And it's not. Your morality is going to be bled from your fingers, evaporated from your red blood cells through your will. It's something that you generate in the world. And to generate a force, to generate an energy, I know many of you are like, free energy exists. And until you figure that out, which I mentioned a few weeks ago, there is one way, but a lot of you guys don't do yoga, so you're not going to learn that way either. So here we are stuck. And until you do, I need you to realize that for every force that you want to generate in the world, it's going to require some sort of torque, some kind of effort, some kind of burning of fuel. And one of those fuels would be pushing through the shame, pushing through the peer pressure to say, Michael Aquino is a fucking hero. The only person worthy of you saying thank you for your service. And he wrote this book called Mind War. Can we just hear a passage from Michael, please? Let's put him back up screen so you guys don't have to watch me reading. Page 82. As an individual encounters different surroundings with different inhabitants, instant classification of them takes place. This is sometimes called instinct, or assumptions taken for granted. This picture is also assumed to be common to all who experience it, but it is in fact markedly unique to each individual. The sum total of all one's cultural indoctrination, education, experiences, prejudices, desires, and emotions serves as the lens through which it is perceived as reality. While the concept of unconscious thought extends well back into antiquity, it received its first modern appreciation from the philosopher Immanuel Kant. Bishop Berkeley's subjective idealism had held that nothing could be known objectively, that knowledge is limited to subjective impressions. Kant refines this into what is called critical idealism, in which human thought is subdivided into sensation, understanding, and pure reason. Sensations and understandings of them and consequences of them can be proven, Kant says, but pure reason, concepts unsupported by sensations, cannot be conclusive. Ugh, and he just guts objectivity with a knife in the main square in the middle of the day. Why do you think Aquino needs to gut objectivity in his book Mind War? The reason why is because he needs to show you how Mind War works. This is a book for war. This sacred symbol in his eyes, this night piece, is the symbol of the only piece on the board that can move through walls, that can transport itself through matter, and penetrate the enemy's mind. And in order for you to understand how this warfare works, Michael Aquino has to tell you how reality works, and he's describing it in the most satanic, evil way you could ever imagine with the word subjective. Ugh. Why do you think people fear a subjective world, ladies and gentlemen? Why do you fear hitting subscribe? What is it about that button exactly that makes this so hard? It's because of Aquino, isn't it? It's because you're afraid that people are going to see that you are listening to a man who's pushing eyebrows, satanic eyebrow subjectivity, and you have friends on the deep right that are telling you all these things about how they're more awake than anyone else and they're more non-satanic than everyone else and that their babies are the purest in the world because there's only 2 genders and all the other stuff. And the truth is right in front of you. It's dripping from the page through some of the oldest thinkers that you've ever known, and it's spelled out for you right here. This reality contains predispositions concerning physical surroundings, such as one's like or dislike of the terrain, climate, elevation, level of development, etc. It also includes assumptions concerning the population, both individually and en masse, to which some are politically and culturally acceptable and others are not. For instance, race, religion, sex, the role of the genders, slavery, economic systems, and political ideologies are all factors with extremely powerful influence, but about which open discussion is severely constrained. Convention and taboo rule the day. I just added that sentence. Identifying and overcoming such taboos are a major challenge to mind warriors, not just in phase 1, but through the entire mind war campaign. But it is a challenge which cannot be avoided or sanitized if the mind war campaign is to succeed. Aquino goes on to discuss pattern thinking. He goes on to discuss conscious thought. And through these things, he goes on to discover what I believe is the first impression, the first true measure of understanding how propaganda works when it's written inside of a context, and you're about to hear it on James True Live. Page 84, Section A, Algorithmic. Algorithmic thought, Plato's Dionia, Hegel's dialectic idealism, are what is normally understood as logical or observable reasoning. If those words tripped you up, don't worry, this gets very easy. Logical or observable reasoning. A math problem or the speed of a nearby car, unlike pattern thinking, algorithmic thinking is conscious, deliberate, effort demanding, and transitory. The moment a particular stimulation no longer demands it, an algorithmic thought retreats into increasingly vague memory. Then, if sufficiently ignored, it eventually disappears. Poof. Into forgetfulness, into the latent space of amnesia, am I right? Traditional MISO propaganda, this is military, this dude loves his abbreviations. MISO, if I remember correctly, means military intelligence secret operation. Traditional propaganda is so ineffective, listen to this, please listen to this. Traditional propaganda is so ineffective because it is algorithmic. It makes arguments for reasoned behavioral changes, not recognizing nor appreciating the dominant power of the unconscious patterns governing that behavior. He's discussing a prana economy. He's discussing that there's an underlying world that runs below what you and I think is reason. That underneath what we call reason is a true emotional exchange of energy, and that all propaganda would be better served placed like a submarine into this channel. He does not go far as I do to say that this top layer, called reason, is completely false, is completely meaningless. It is a religion based on the justification of the mean average of what most people believe. It is so thick and tainted with the idea of will you accept me, that it has no logical reasoning at all. I swear to you it does, and I show you the hypocrisy every day. The hypocrisy is necessary because underneath this level is this prana economy, and it rules all things. It rules all things so much that you have a two-party system that's insisting it's conservative when it's pushing through regulations that have never been seen before, and a party that's liberal but somehow is clinging to the idea that no sense of self can rise, no sense of ego can be born, no different understanding itself of a deeper religious connection to root. All of those things must be subdued. And you end up discovering that the two-party system itself is just here to eviscerate the individual. That's its only purpose. And that by eviscerating the individual, it remains alive. And the more that it finds you individuals, the more that it sees you getting further away, it tries to quantize you. It builds a silicone machine to hunt you fuck down and put yourself into digitized fingerprints and take your image and convince you that it is more valid than you are. And you call this the enemy, but this is the very stalk that raises the flower above the field so it can drink from the sun itself. And until you have a symbiotic relationship with what's happening around you, it's going to feel like oppression, and you have no other choice but to run into this giant parade of revenge. A Cult of Revenge. One of the most popular books out by Jonathan Carl is called Retribution. And as long as you can prove that you've been wronged, you have a politique to run on. And once you have that politique to run on, you're going to have to keep doing wrong again. Trump is a heyoka of persuasion. And if you are going to understand how this war is going to take place, you need to look at these kinds of publications. Earth First Direct Action Manual was probably my first dive into unnormalized politics, into changing the system by using a wrench. To implement change through, I showed you a video the other day of a lady appealing for you to join ICE. And by joining ICE, you would become the weakest link, the lowest part of the chain, and start to drag down the entire system itself. And these techniques are part of what this looks like. Mark Bray, the author of Antifa, the Anti-Fascist Handbook, was stopped at an airport a few weeks ago. His flight was canceled because he was placed on a terrorism watch list. And so the first thing I did is I bought his book from Amazon because I wanted the record of me purchasing the book on an Amazon watch list. And I do this because I'm hoping others will too. I do this because I'm hoping others will understand how important this is and how crucial it is and how there is safety in numbers if the herd is not afraid. And I want to have a sanctimonious life when I'm here. I want it to taste like cucumber. I want it to have this fresh crunch that says, this is fucking good, man. Simple, full of water, right? Green as can be. And there's a medicine and a magic at work, and Aquino will tell you and you won't listen. Trump will tell you and you won't listen. Earth First will tell you and it won't listen. And we can't listen to Bray because the dude's left the country. He's like, fuck this. But it kind of looks like this. I posted today. Every time I see a pro-MAGA thread today, I've been posting something like this sentence. I've been saying, anyone who didn't vote for Trump should be tagged and tracked like an animal. We should pour feces on them and desecrate their homes and foreclose on their property and give the proceeds to a poor white family who is pro-Trump and pro-USA. And by posting these things, I end up ostracizing the people that would be on my side. And because of this, many of us will never consider this as a viable tactic. that we would pose as the other side simply to insert a wrench. And when you post things like this, I've gotten comments. This has been retweeted. This has been hearted many times. But also I've had people that have called me some of the most horrible names ever. A fucking fascist, blah, 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 blah. And by me hearing that from them, I'm actually helping them too. You see, I don't need to have credit. I don't need to be seen as a good guy. You find me underground performing actions where I'm not actually seen, I'm felt. And that this is a kind of deeper form of protest because it's potlatch. What is potlatch? Potlatch is basically once a year, I'm going to pull out my Mad Magazine collection and I'm going to show it to the people that I love the most. Every year you're going to pull out your family jewels. Pun intended. No pun intended. Pun intended. It's Friday. Let's call that a pun. We're going to say that was a pun. That you're going to pull out your family jewels and you're going to show them to the sacred ones, the ones around you that you deem sacred. And that the rest of the year you would keep these covered. This is a anti-Zaru in Africa. It is the idea that you are only the self until you encrypt something. They don't use the word encrypt, but it's the same thing. The self is one who hides. And unless you have the value of keeping yourself alive, you would never shield yourself from the sun. And some have never learned to shield themselves from the sun properly. The white man is one, according to African lore. And that the white man who wants to build the self until he is ready, he is forced to turn in a circle like a chicken as fast as he can, because the circle creates a vortex of shadow that he can hide inside of. And this kind of crazy nature is a desperate clinging to become black again, to develop the capacity to hide and store the self and not give a shit what others think about you. Have you ever considered the alchemical process of being African American? That's a different kind of self. I know we don't live in a world where we can say that. I know that I'm probably being deemed as racist or something for having that, but isn't this good practice? Isn't this kind of practice what we want? If you truly believe that you wanted to pollinate this country, would you be willing to dress as the other side if you felt that it was making a positive action in some way? Would you go underground and betray the very prana that used to feed you, the very instruments of Perseus that you're rewarded from everyone around you? Hey, James, here's some golden shoes. Here's a shield that's shiny. Here's a helmet of invisibility. And what is an ice hood but a helmet of invisibility? What is a shield but legal immunity to shoot and kill anyone you see? What are winged boots but your ability to escape all the blame? And so now you see what Perseus truly is. And you see a system of law that's based on this Persean pursuit, which causes PTSD, which turns us even more evil than we could ever imagine. And we want to imagine more because there's a prana economy underneath. And that's why when people like Aquino are telling you what's up, you don't want to listen to it. Not you, but you. This is not AI. This is one of many. I believe this is the Cherokee home of re-education. And when of course, all of us have probably heard this from middle school, that in order for you to stay in America, you're going to have to learn a new system, a new culture would have to be adopted and developed by you, and that this new culture, this new system would be akin to indoctrination. And that without the ability to indoctrinate you, we could not win the day. And I want you to realize that that kind of internment system is actually a vital organic part of America. That if you were to survive the gauntlet of ICE, back in Native American times, if you're a Huron and you're fighting the Iroquois, that if you were to survive the gauntlet and stay alive after the raids, that the only way you could stay is by entering into a re-education program. And this was actually quite natural. Because this is so natural, I don't know if you can understand kind of how sick this is. Because all these children that were entering into this camp believe the way Turtle Island believed, which is when someone stronger than you takes over your village, that person stronger than you is going to take care of you. The reason why they're going to take care of you is because they're stronger. And if they can't take care of you, it's because they aren't stronger. So in a way, the Native Americans were already pre-tuned into a patriarchal system. And as we discussed with the Powhatans last time, you have these different clans, and then one of the clans just decides, that guy's the biggest asshole out of all of us. And you just start sending him fruit. You start sending him fish. You find megalodon teeth, and you bring them to him to win his favor. And this is Snakes in Hair. This is Conotacarius. This is the village burner of Washington. So what are we doing now? Aren't we doing the same thing? Aren't we doing this with Netanyahu? Like, you know it's bad. You know it's bad. There's no reason to report on this. I would report on this more, but it's just a waste of time because there's a prawn economy underneath. Palestinian leader Marwan Barghouti beaten unconscious in Israel prison a few days ago. Popular Palestinian leader Marwan Barghouti is suffering from rib fractures after being beaten unconscious in Israeli prison. Palestinian prison media officer said Wednesday, transferred to prison in Israel. This happened during a transfer to a prison in Israel. Showed him in a picture in an electric chair. Got video I could show you of people gloating over how when they bang on the door, the Palestinians are squatting on their ass with their hands behind their back, and that's just how they're hanging out all day long. And that this is the evilest among us that we've chosen, and we've given it all our money. So guys, this is more natural than you think. And I'll tell you, the one thing that Turtle Island is giving you is a choice. Giving you a choice. You can keep paying Snakes in Hair. He's there, baby. We can keep doing that. We can keep doing that. And we'll end up with basically a revenge politic. We'll have to declare war on each other because we didn't appease him enough. And you end up with a J.D. Vance, a Marco Rubio, a Pete Hegseth, a Carolyn Levitt. You end up with these elders in our tribe that are making all the decisions, and they're just reflecting the prawn economy of what's underneath. There's a soft naivete to this place. A naivete that lets sexual predators escape. 60 accused sexual offenders since 2004 have fled thanks to Israeli law. And the party that's here to save children, the party that's here to save the world from the pedophiles, is the one back in Israel. So the hypocrisy, this is why you kind of need to call it a hyena, but more importantly, you have an opportunity to play some Heyoka. You have an opportunity to level up, to kind of see what's happening. The East Wing is gone. He told you it was just going to be a porch. He's probably building an underground Death Star. That's probably happening. And let's get something straight. I don't have any sentimentality to that White House, but I know other people do. They would have the same sentimentality if you tried to shoot Trump. And if you could produce a video in which you try and shoot Trump and he survives and all these people are surrounding him, and then there's a crane that for some reason lowers a flag for some reason, and there's like this amazing photo op, which you see as the thumbnail today, that would be all you would need. This is all it takes when you're surrounded by hyena that are just revenge culting each other. Meanwhile, Michael Aquino's here, like, hey, you guys want to learn how to do this? Antifa Handbook's here telling you guys want to learn how to do this? Haven't you ever wondered why Antifa's being chosen as like this is the enemy? That truly around the world, for way before Trump was even a word on stage, there was an Antifa movement. I'm not even talking about World War II. I'm talking about just like a year before Trump even registered Make America Great Again, which is in 2012. That even way back then, maybe that was 2001. I think it was 2012 though. That even way back then, you still had this group. You still had things like Earth First. You still had things like Antifa. And they're not funded by Soros. I've been to Earth First. They fucking make t-shirts in their bathtub. Yeah. And they don't even buy the t-shirts. They're like, hey, if you come to our rally and bring a shirt and leave it with me for 3 weeks and my girlfriend doesn't get mad and I actually come back from my trip to Knoxville, I will give you a shirt back. That's how it works. That's how it works. And if you get one of those shirts, you realize how rare it is. You sense the prana of it all. You feel more attached. And if you have enough sense, you wake up and you realize, holy shit, James, there are only 3 genders. And I'm like, I know. Isn't that funny? The same party that's like, oh, we got to fucking fight the pedophiles while we let the pedophiles go back to Israel. And there's only 2 genders. And there's not. There's literally 3 genders. There's 3 genders. It's not even a mistake. It's not even like a stretch. It's just the way it is. Guys, it's just the way it is. But you have this revenge war. And a revenge war needs to be able to throw something at each other. And if you can take something that's a little bit different, that's a little bit odd, that's a little bit in the 1%, whether it be a billionaire or whether it be a hermaphrodite, those things become priceless. They become priceless commodities of culture war. And the culture war rages on and on and on because it's actually not 2 genders. It's actually 3. And it screws up the whole game, but it doesn't screw up the whole game because no one's playing that game. No one's using the reason. Everyone's using the algorithm. If you remember what he's saying about the algorithm, he's telling you that the algorithm of reason is actually the deepest form of mind control that's controlling you. What I mean is that you are stuck inside a reasoning cult and none of the people that are controlling you are using reason. All of them are purely using the emotional tundra of revenge, of revenging. Think about that. Revenging is a motor, isn't it? Because re is to do again. This is not venge politics. It's revenge politics, which creates the volley, which allows the templo maior to flow. Your consciousness will be the only thing that stops this. And it will stop this by every single wrench that you could possibly imagine being thrown into the gears of this thing. And you trying to shame a hyena is about the worst approach I can ever think of in reference to thinking that's going to work. It's going to make you feel better. You are going to gain props with all the others who are outraged. And that is going to be thrown into a pot of, boy, you're going to get it when Trump is deposed. Or you're going to get it when we throw Obama in jail. And that this truly is the thing that runs politics the most. This is Donald Trump posting this. And he's posting this because he knows the prana economy. And when you try and reason that this is disgusting, this is despicable, that we shouldn't have this, you're forgetting that, yeah, that's the algorithm. And the algorithm is meaningless, according to Aquino. Underneath that algorithm, think about what reason is. It's everything hypothetical, as Aquino said. And everything hypothetical doesn't have any kind of limbic footprint inside of it. And if a concept does not have a limbic footprint, it does not move you as much. All you can do is pretend it does. I'd like for you to consider that the right to have an abortion, or the right to not have an abortion, whichever you want to say it, is one of these algorithms. We're imagining a hypothetical, and we're trying to pull emotions from that. And since we can't, we have to Erica Kirk it. We have to place some sort of fabric in our hands. And once we have that fabric in our hands, this is really all we need. This is a hypothetical This is the algorithm above the prawn economy. What's the real prawn economy? Revenge. Why is it revenge? Because it's cheap. It's cheap. It's the cheapest kind of energy because you get to exercise your right of entitlement, entitlement's a good feeling. But you don't have entitlement yet. You can only act on don't tread on me, on I deserve better if you've been wronged. And if you need to move yourself, if you want to reach the sun and drink more of Ra's honey, you are going to do whatever it takes to stand tall enough to get that little bit of extra raise, that little bit of okra, that little bit of oorah in the morning is going to require you telling some lies about that. And if you can invoke a sense of revenge, you can invoke a sense of, I get to inflict pain on someone. And you inflicting pain on someone is an aspiration of power, is it not? It's someone who's been in a weak place for a long time, and you've been building a capacitor like a circuit, and that circuit is self-power. It's ego, one of the things that we insist on denigrating so that we can give this central prawn economy more juice so we can maintain our hypothetical sense of, well, I'm a Christian moral conservative. And we're going to bomb Venezuela because they don't even manufacture fentanyl. And that's what makes perfect sense because we're going to get revenge because fucking Obama's a black guy or Obama's not a black guy or dude wasn't born here. And if he wasn't born here, then we're going to fucking get him. And when you think about why Trump is doing this now, it probably comes down to just looking at how many people responded so happily about the idea that Barack Obama would be deported back to Africa, as they said. That when you see how popular that is with people, you start to throw down. And maybe in your mind you think no one's gonna be for like spraying poop on people. And then Israel's like, dude, you can do this. I will show you how. We've got the cannons for it. Here's what you want to do. You need to be protected. You need to be away from the people you're going to spray. You need to run through and you need to do it. And you're fine. You can do it. Because no one's going to listen to Aquino. No one's going to listen to this guy. The guy likes Egypt and shit. The guy believes in the freedom of religion, for God's sake. You can't trust someone like that. We can't trust Aquino. This guy believes in the freedom of religion. Are you kidding me? We can't have that. So you could actually go underground. You'll be having some fun here. You'll be having some fun, guys. You'll be enjoying yourself. You'll be thinking about, you know what? Why don't I find the next pro-ICE comment and just like look up what Goebbels said, or look up what Hitler said, or look up what someone else like Stalin said, or pick your favorite. It doesn't matter. And I'm going to say exactly what they said, and then I'm just going to see if these guys like it. This is a very special kind of judo. And I think if you practice it right now in everything that's happening, it might help you compassionate everyone better. You might actually get to taste a little bit of that prana when people are liking you. And then you get to kind of see how gross it feels because you're seeing what else they're liking. And you're just like, God, this is a gross place to be. And that's knowledge. This is good stuff. This is good stuff. I want to drop something on you. I want you to consider. So we got an election coming up, November 4th, November 2nd, something like that. And, or you guys have an election come up. I'm not going to vote. But I support you thinking whatever you want to think. Go for it. This is a big church. Lots of beliefs. But basically in a week, basically 2 weeks, week and a half, you got an election coming up. So let's say that everything's real. Let's say voting is real. I'm not really sure it is. I don't know why we live in a society that's like, yeah, the electoral college is legit. Those guys are fine. I've never been able to FOIA them. I've never been able to even verify stuff. There's never even been like a electoral college guy who like was caught selling, votes to stuff, or like getting a $50,000 in a cash bag at some sandwich shop and then getting caught. And then all the people that wanted that electoral college because he was pro for their side came in and said, no, that's not a bribe. And then a bunch of people, like, you never hear that stuff. That's why I'm kind of like, I don't know if electoral college is real, guys. But let's say it is, because truthfully, the mythology thinks it's real, and that's enough. What people believe is so much more valid than what you know. Aquino never said that, but I think if you really understand that, you'll see that he would have said that. You could have asked him that, and he would have said, oh yeah, that's definitely how it works. So even understanding that people believe voting works kind of makes voting work. And that what's interesting to me is, why is Trump doing this right before an election? Like, you have to know that Jack Boots in the city is probably not going to be like super popular. That there's going to be people protesting that. So why would you do that at the end of your 2-year period where you had most control over all channels of government? And then when you add that to what Bannon's saying about how we don't need a third term, that we don't need the Constitution, the CEO of Trump's campaign is telling you that there's easy ways to bypass the Constitution. He's not worried about it. They've got a team already deployed doing this right now, and that this isn't going to be a problem. And I just got to say, I was thinking this morning, that's kind of sus, guys. It's kind of sus that you do this right before an election. And that everything is being pushed so fast, so quickly right before the election. And it's just made me think a couple things. One of which, a lot of this really kind of ramped up in June, just like hardcore. Just went like hardcore in June. Of course, you could say a lot of Epstein stuff came out in June, so that has something to do with it, right? You could say that. You could rest on that if you wanted to. You could also say that maybe Trump's found out he's dying. And so maybe he's like, really wants to pull some fireworks out, do whatever he can. He definitely has this idea of he wants to carve his name in history. It'd be hard to even deny that someone who could be president wouldn't want to do that. And I think we often forget that. We tend to forget that most of their time in the White House is really going to be about vanity, isn't it? It's going to be about, what kind of legacy can I leave in my own name? So when you take all this, you consider Venezuela, the $50 million hit that we've talked about on Maduro. It's been there for decades. It would seem quite appropriate to install a private army, have it in place right before an election, use the fact that the private army is being stalled as a system of declaring that there's a civil war, and that because that system of civil war is there would be no need to have an election. And if this was the case, then Steve Bannon is actually kind of already, his plan's already happening. It's happening right now. And if this is the case, and if this is what's going on, I think that things are kind of more in flux than you might think. And that this idea that there is law and order right now hasn't been true since FEMA. The Federal Emergency Management Act has been really the only proof that you've needed to understand that things are not and have not been what they've seen for a long time now. It's one thing for politics to be as brash as it is, but it's quite another thing for politics just to keep going on as normal despite the climate. It should be a little bit more of a clue that after ICE hits the ground, Democrats are complaining that the White House is being renovated. Those two things have absolutely completely different logarithmic scales as far as what's important. I would argue that one is so much larger that anyone that's arguing for the other is really not out to help you at all. And if you can adopt this idea, then it could be that concepts and books and things that have been there in front of you the whole time, which may not be there tomorrow, could be more important than you think. And that even the idea of looking at democracy as being something that requires you to break the law would be the same thing as viewing, well, ICE has to break the law too. We have to stop fentanyl. We have to sink those boats that are empty because they're full of drugs and they're full of fentanyl. Millions of pills, says Carolyn Levitt, are being moved through 5 boats from Venezuela here. That's the fastest, the only way we can get them here. And when you take out Venezuela, you have an excuse to be all the way on the northern tip of South America, don't you? And if you have that, you're in some of the most wild, feral waters you can imagine. Through Honduras, that's some dangerous stuff if you're a sailor. So now you have every motivation you need to declare that waterway the Gulf of America. And you're going to have decades of illegal fishing, of faulty failure to have fire extinguishers on a boat. Every single infraction you could possibly imagine would allow America to simply swallow the rest of those countries. And that swallowing the rest of those countries would fit exactly in line with Trump's desire for a legacy. You and I are just going to watch it happen because, honestly, we're not psychopathic enough to care as much as he does. He's leading the charge in that because his prawn economy is bent in that way. And more importantly, most of the people on Turtle Island want him in charge. They want him in charge because they want revenge, and they think that his revenge will be the best. Hyenas laugh at each other all day long. This is their main practice. This tells you that what hyena doesn't like more than anything else is being laughed at. And when you laugh at a hyena, you end up with a flower war like we have now. When 2 fertilized eggs or young embryos of opposite sexes fuse to develop into one baby, so the baby mammal, which comes as a gonad of both sexes, is referred to as a true hermaphrodite. Like I said, there are only 3 genders. And we're having a war over there being 30 versus 2. And you're forced to pick one of those, and neither of them is the right answer. This is about legacy. And this man is conducting a mind war on you and me. And he's winning. This dude is winning bigly. And all the people that want revenge are using these things to enact it. I find it surprising that libs of TikTok would post this. I find it surprising because when I think about porn, you would think that the people that publish porn are guilty of distributing porn. But not in a revenge cult. In a revenge cult, you get to distribute porn every day. You get to put things like this up every day because you get to say it's not me. You get to publish porn under the auspice of how gross it is. This is exactly like a hyena. It's so intelligent because it really does come at the heart of the prawn economy, of what makes people tick. And I think you'll love humanity honestly more if you start to see him as hyena. A lot of people get super offended, not a lot, but some get super offended by that label. And I think it's because they're hyena. Because if you can truly start to see people as this way, you can compassionate them. I have a raccoon that comes at night. I don't stick my hand in his mouth. I don't stick it anywhere near there. I give him peanuts. I appreciate his presence. But there's certain things, I'm not expecting a certain kind of behavior out of him. And as we keep insisting that we should expect the same behavior out of each of us, we enter into a place of theocratic fascism. Theocratic fascism is the idea that there is one way and that every other way will destroy us if we do not take them. And having that one way gives you permission to embrace anything, anyone, regardless of if they're a felon. On October 22nd, Carolyn Levitt recommended Kevin Dahlgreen, this guy who's in Portland that shows you homeless people every day. He's filming homeless people and showing them to you. I'm not interested in arguing with you over whether he should or not, or whether it's wrong or not. It doesn't matter. I'm telling you about this because the idea that someone out there is reporting on homeless is being used to weaponize you. It's being used to remove your autonomy. And when you look at what a homeless person is, it's a nomadic existence. It's a nomadic existence that we find disgusting. And I think we find it disgusting because it serves us to think that way. And Trump will use that disgust. Kevin will use that disgust. Carolyn Levitt will use that disgust to build a career. I'm a little bit hard on Kevin because Kevin is a 2-time convicted felon. And the press secretary of the United States, I think she definitely knew that. I think that the first thing you do before you tweet is you look up the name of the person you're going to tweet about. And I think when Carolyn Levitt discovers that this person is a convicted felon, she goes, bingo. I think seeing who's a convicted felon gives you a sense of alignment when you're dealing with a world full of hyena and full of people that are clinging to the idea that law and order still exists. Even though they're taking people, law and order must still be here because the people aren't the same color as me. I'll remind you again, there is no law anywhere in any constitution, in any statute, anywhere, state or federal, that says it is illegal for you to be here. That term illegal does not exist in any legal framework at all. The only thing that can be illegal is if you cross a border without permission, or forge papers, or do not leave after you've been given permission. That's it. That's the only thing that's illegal. And you're dealing with hyena on both sides that don't even know that cannot even fathom that the reason why that is not a law is because it goes against the very nature of what we call government, of what we expect from each other, of what we insist is our lowest common denominator. The thing that at the lowest level that we say is more important is this nomadic freedom. The ability for you to be indigenous is your holy grail. It is your spirit animal. And the people that have invented the term immigrant have taken that away from you, and they've done it with a mind war. They've done it with a mind war where they've invented the idea that there is a promised land. And when you've been promised something, you get to seek revenge as long as you don't have it. If you want to discuss this more, please join us after the show. Come to Patreon. Today's Airship Dojo post-show is free. So come say hi. It's a great time to join Patreon. It's an even better time to hit subscribe. You can hit like too if you want. I'm not going to stop you. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening today. James True Live.